Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here. Welcome back to another plugin knowledge session. In this session, we're going to have a look at a plugin from PSP called Saturator. So firstly, if you're new to my channel and new to my videos and you like what you see, click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So PSP Saturator, new plugin, sort of just came out recently. It is, as the name implies, a saturation plugin. It is meant to impart, analog warmth, adding extra harmonic content, etc., emulating sort of tape recorder machines, etc., valve circuits or tube circuits, whatever you want to call them, all that sort of stuff that has, the days of analog and all those various things that add that little bit of sort of distortion or a bit of warmth or character to your content. So let's just get into it and I'll show you what it's all about. All right, so here we are in Cubase, and here is the PSP Saturator plugin. So this plugin here, they describe it as having, I guess, 3 different algorithms for saturation. So they talk about a low frequency algorithm, processing algorithm. All right, we have a high frequency in this section here, and then we have an overall, which is supposed to impact everything. Now, looking at, they have a block diagram in the manual. When we look at it, it sort of comes in, and I think you can open it up. There is a high pass filter and some other settings here, but we'll close that for now. The way it seems to work is that it comes in here and it will hit the input gain, and then it will hit the low frequency processing. Then it will hit the high frequency processing. Then it will hit the overall saturation processing. Then it comes down to your mix and then into your output, and then hits this last saturation or limiter or nothing before going out. Okay, so we've got a couple of meters here. Obviously, you can see we've got left and right, and it's a VU style meter. We can set it to different settings here. So we can put it on pre, which means that it will show the input signal. If we put it on drive, it will show the signal level going into the final output saturator, which I assume is down here. And then you've got post, which shows the output signal like just going right out. So it's past this last saturation section there. So it defaults to drive, and we'll see what that does. Okay, so our low frequency section here, we have a frequency knob that we can set between 20 and 400 hertz. We can turn it on and off as well if we wish. We have a warmth control. So this controls the emulation of low frequency distortion. So I guess this is basically our saturation for our low end here. So we can go from 0 up to 100%. And then we have a level control, so we can adjust it. We can reduce the level or boost the level or keep it at 0. Right, we've got the high frequency processing over here. And again, we've got a frequency range. So we've got 1K or 1000 hertz up to 20,000 hertz or 20K. Okay, so the softness control here, that is described as setting the depth of the soft knee compression of the high frequency content. So they're stating that it emulates the high frequency compression of analog tape. So I guess, when you put high frequencies through analog tape, it can usually dull it down, warm it up, however you want to describe it. I guess this is what that's doing, how much you want to do. So you've got 0% to 100%. And then you got your level control again. We can reduce it, increase it, nothing at all. And we can turn that section on or off. And right, then we've got our main saturation section here. So we have our saturation knob, which we can go from 0% up to 100%. And then we have a shape. So we've got several options here. So we've got none. We've got a soft valve, or I guess tube, depending on what country you come from. So I'll give you the descriptions from the manual of what they state. So the soft valve is a smooth, warm valve emulation. Then you've got the med valve, which I guess is medium, a hotter valve simulation. And you got the hard valve, which is a highly overdriven valve circuit. Then we got warm tape, which is a classic warm tape saturation. We got modern tape, which is, as it says, modern tape saturation. We then have ram, which is a saturation curve bent like a ram's horn. Interesting description. Soft clip resembling diode clipping. And then we got hard clip, which is digital clipping produced by analog to digital converters. That should be pretty nasty, that one. So I would say you're probably going from the lowest, more subtle amount of saturation, escalating and changing style as well, but probably still escalating up to the most severe. All right, so down here we've got some global controls. All right, so we've got a bypass, processing bypass. So, you know, it's plug in on and off. Obviously in Cubase, again, we can do it up here as well, but if we just left that, we could also do it within the plugin. We then have an input gain. So that is, you know, not setting the amount of saturation or anything. It's just purely boosting the input signal as we're coming in. We have output, again, same. You can reduce, boost, good for level matching the plugin. So you can do comparisons before and after. And you got a mix control. So we can mix the wet with the dry. So processed and unprocessed. So if you want to heavily saturate and then mix some of that heavy saturation in with some of your clean, or, you know, to keep the punch of drums or something like that, you can do that with the mix control. Okay, so you can link the input and output here and they will stay in sort of comparative levels here. So if I wanted to boost the input, I could boost the input and it will reduce the output, or vice versa. You could go the other way. Now you could also adjust one prior, say boost the input, then lock it. Then it will retain that differential, right? But sync them from that point on. Well, all right, then we have this final little section here, which is where all of this processing is going to go through. And we have off, we have saturation, which is some soft clipping, or lim for limiter, which is a soft knee brick wall limiter. And I would assume that we could drive it harder by pushing our output through this stage. All right, if we open up, we get a few more extra settings here. We have a fat control here, which engages the frequency authentication technique. So it's oversampling, which this reduces the anti-aliasing, more pleasant saturation results. You've got a sidechain high-pass filter. We've got a smooth control here. So this one sets the amount of saturation smoothing typical of quality analog circuits. A typical sound for the older saturation version can be attained with a value of 0. Higher values smooth the saturation, making it less harsh, more relaxed, and with reduced aliasing. Then we have a makeup, which sets up the percentage of optimal post-saturation makeup based on current shape and saturation settings. Then we have this high-pass filter section here. So we can set up so this one here sets up the actual cutoff frequency. So it looks like we got 5 up to 250. And then we've got the actual mode. So we can set that to pre or post high pass filter. So if you want to do a high pass filter before doing all of this, or you want to do it after, you can set that as well. Up the top, we've got all our usual settings here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you know, they're pretty much on all of the PSP plugins. So, you know, we've got some presets that we can flick through here. That'll be interesting to check out. You can open up your versions and get a manual, show or hide hints, do some ABs, copy paste, saves, all that sort of stuff is up here as per usual. All right, so I think it's time to just get started and do some audio examples and try a few things out. So I'm going to start with a bass track, and as you can see, I have it set to nothing, but what we're going to do is I'm actually going to put it to default. All right, which has a few things on, a bit of saturation, a warm tape, 100 mix, nothing over the top. What we'll do is we'll actually bypass from here. So, all right, let's go clean. Seems like it's adding a bit of volume. That's a bit better. Sounds good just on the default setting. I like that. All right, let's take both of those out. As you would imagine, bass guitar, most of the impact here is coming from the low end. So let's, I guess, flick through one thing at a time here. So I'm just going to have it turned on. We'll have our low turned on here. Go with 100, that's probably a nice sweet spot there. So you can hear how much boom you can get out of that. All right, now let's have a listen to the actual overall saturation on this. Okay, that's off. See the LED flickering there? You can hear it ramping up as I push it up. It's definitely a warmer sound. Now, how nasty can we go? Let's let's go 100, turn that off. Now you could go with something like that. Or maybe not hard clip. Let's find... Let's go hard valve, right? Okay, that's what it sounds like with that. Now, that's clean. Can add 50% in. You want to add a bit of grit, but still keep that cleanish sound, as opposed to just that. You know, you can even come lower. Alright, let's back this off. Now, what if you go 0 on that? Yeah, so it's definitely independent, isn't it? Let's say we set that to 1K, have a look at the high. Okay, let's definitely take that edge off the clicky. Alright, so this is before. That's definitely softened that clicky sound for the bass. So if you've got a little bit too much, you know, sort of high-end clickiness or something like that, and you want to round it, smooth it off, perfect job here. And I can obviously set it to whatever frequency you like there, or back it off a bit. I like the sound of that, actually. That's nice. It smooths it, but it doesn't make it too dull. Now the other thing I want to try is I want to see what this does on the back end here. Now we might need to push it. We'll see. Hang on. So we're not hitting it at the moment. Okay, you can hear the saturation there. That sounds more squashed, more like it is hitting a limiter just saturating. Even thinner, to be honest. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to get an idea of what that sounded like. Now, out of curiosity, let's see. All right, we have a bass guitar. Let's flick through a few presets. All right, so you can see here they're setting a hard valve, saturation, and obviously the low end is the focus. Bit of saturation on the output. Seems to be a volume boost, but okay, that one attempts to do some high end. Okay, this is not a sub, so it's not really appropriate for sub. The clash bass tone. Okay, we're pushing the saturation a lot now. Okay, this seems to be some pretty nice sounding presets here. Now, all right, let's try it on something else. Okay, let's do it on this. We've got a set of electronic drums. I've turned it down because they're very loud. So adding saturation to electronic instruments seems to have a very more bigger impact. It actually changes the sound quality as such. I find putting saturation on real instruments, it adds quality to it and things like that, but doesn't really change the sound too much unless you go really drastic. But with electronic instruments, I find it always changes. I mean, if you listen to the kick, right, it's almost like a totally different sounding kick. And we're obviously, you know, hitting it pretty hard there. So we could have a look at, say, .808 saturation. See, I haven't even got the mixer full here. Put that softness up high, you can hear the hi-hat. Definitely dulls that hi-hat down. Now, obviously, if you used it on each individual instrument as well, you could really sculpt the electronic drums even further. But that gives you an example of that. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll put something on the end of a full song. All right, so we've got a full song here, and I'll just wind it back here. This is what we've got. Now, in just default setting here, I'm just going to drop this down because I don't want it to trick us. Okay, let's check out some of the, so we've got mix, we've got preamp ones, we've got mix, we've got mastering. So, you know, we could say, all right, let's go with mastering. So I would assume being mastering, we would be a lot more subtle. So we're just using, actually we've got the low and the high off. We're just using some normal saturation here, soft valve. Now we're adding some extra high lows. If you listen to the rhythm guitars on the side, you can hear the grit come out there. Definitely add some extra oomph and life to it. I like it. Makes me want to process these songs again. Bit of warm tape on this one. Modern tape. It's got a bit of a volume boost, but that's a bit heavy. Bit too much saturation on that one. I like it. I think it sounds good. Let me know what you think. You know, I'd love to hear your opinion on this as well, because what I'm hearing here, it sounds really good. And you've got some great flexibility and options here. You know, it's not just your simple turn on your saturation, but not too complicated either, right? It's pretty easy to understand. Your low end, your top, just some general saturation, pick your mode. You know, obviously you can open up and go into tweaking these settings and things like that, but you don't need to. You can just set here and put it on the end of your mix, whatever, and, you know, it'll hopefully sound good. But, you know, you need to be careful, you know, especially if you're putting it on a mix or a master. You don't want to overdo it. You know, some of the ones I was flicking through that sounded good can sometimes be over the top. I mean, okay, utterly trashed. Wow. Pretty... Yeah, pretty accurate description there. Utterly trashed, because that's what it did. But if you want that sound, then they've got it. So there you go. That is Saturator from PSP. Let me know what you think of the plugin in the comments below. Is it something you're looking at getting? Do you already have a sort of saturation distortion style plugin that is your favorite? Is this something that you would look at for your own mixes, etc.? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments as well. I like to help wherever I can. Again, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully the video has helped. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.